Hi and welcome to my build video. This is a Tamiya 1/12 scale Caterham Super 7 BDR, the re-released version. Here I have made good progress. We've got all the front suspension on, painted the springs a nice fetching red. Got the engine in and got some pipe work to finish off, but sort of laid in readiness for the radiator, etc. Got the coil pack, or the HT leads, should I say. They're roughly positioned. All tanks in. Repainted that to take away the chrome. Interior's all in, carpet lining, self-adhesive carpet's great with the seat belts as well. Lap straps are in, waiting for the shoulder straps to be attached to the rear tonneau there later. Lifting up the moulded rubber piece, we can see inside of the boot, all aluminium panels in there. Lovely, and rear suspension. You can see the four-wheel attachment studs and again the red springs on the back. Underneath we've got the diff, the bottom of the fuel tank. Lovely moulded rubber CV boots to join everything together. Going forward, underneath the sump of the engine, little oil filter. And yeah, it's a really great model kit. Wasn't going to do a video when I started building this, so hence this is part one. There's no very early build video, but I think it's going well. I've added a little bit of detail to the build. You can see there the engine hoses. I've glued the ends of the braided hoses. And used aluminium foil for a Jubilee clip simulation, and on the ends of the hoses there to simulate the swaged fitting look. It also prevents any fraying of the aluminium braiding on these hoses. They look great, but when they're fray, they're not pretty. So. But a bit of metallic blue paint on the coupling there to simulate the aero quick fitting. And overall, just a great build. This bit is next. This is the I think people call it the Scuttle Panel. So you got your brake master cylinder, your pedal mounting. There's a regulator rectifier on there, and that's all got to be fitted in next. I'd like to just show you a few pics I took during the build. Little slideshow, so just so you can see how we got to where we are now before I continue the video. Welcome back. I hope those pictures are useful, bring you up to speed. Here we have one of the standout pieces of the kit. It's a lovely recreation of a K&N air filter, two pressed steel plates sandwiching a gold effect crinkle mesh. Really good recreation of the original K&N air filter element, and looks really nice on the body of the carburettor there. Carburettor's painted gloss black and then alclad with a bit of Tamiya titanium gold to highlight a few features on there. Moving on, we have a few other bits and pieces. Steering wheel is complete, as you can see. Multi-part construction, very nice detail with a metal press center piece. Here we have the headlight assembly. We're missing the lenses, but that's all painted ready for the lenses to go in. So we've got a few pieces ahead of us. We can look forward into the instructions to fit in those. Here you can see a lovely metal grille that we've got to put into the front nose cone. I did a lot of work with the paint on the body here. We've got a Tamiya primer underneath, Zero Paints British Racing Green, and finished off with a Zero lacquer. The lacquer has been left to dry for at least a week, and then it's been cut back and polished to quite a good standard, I think. Just a little test fit there. I think it's a really nice colour. Lots of people choose very random colours for their sevens, but I do like the British Racing Green. It sets really nice off against the gloss of the headlights, the blacks of the interior, and the silver of all the panels. And I'm quite happy with the finish. Just a little bit more on the finish I've achieved on the lacquer. This is predominantly done with a combination of wet and dry sandpaper, followed by micro mesh. I use 10,000 grit in this instance, and it gives a very, very fine finish that's easily polished off with any automotive polish. I used a Maguire's sort of scratch removing polish, which is a little bit coarser initially, and then you can just see on the bottom here some of the micro mesh scratches that haven't quite polished out here. But then afterwards you can use a more of a finishing grade of polish. Here you can see on one of the front fenders, achieved another nice finish on this. Next up we have a painted wheel and tyre assembly. Wheel has been painted gloss black again, finished with the Alclad metal finishes, and the Zero lacquer on top. Now it's come out okay. It did start a bit brighter silver, and the lacquer has affected the Alclad. It almost kind of lifted it and put it into a suspension, and it just never dried in the same way that it initially was. A little bit of a shame, but I actually like the colour, I like the finish. I'm happy with it, so I'm going to persevere. The air valve will be painted a Tamiya rubber black at some point. The only problem is the hubcaps didn't come out quite so well, so they're going to have to be repainted. Coming towards the end of the video now, and just like to show you during the build of this kit how I've stored some of the very small parts and pieces that are ready to be put on to the car that I've done in advance. To do this I've used a Racco storage container, which is a great little slide lock container containing multiple compartments. Here I've got all the little screws in, 2 compartments, 1 for each bag. I've got other little finished components ready to go on. Here we've got the exhaust. The heat shield's been assembled and bent and screwed onto the metal body of the exhaust. This is all ready to be fitted. Nice brush finish on the aluminium. I know some people have painted this black on certain builds I've seen on the internet, which is very nice. I've stuck with the bare metal finish on this occasion. Like I say, we've got the screws, we've got the carbs, the air filters, decals. This is, I believe, a rubberized little graphic for the 7 logo to go on the front fender. But yeah, it's a really great container for storing all these little parts. I pre-cut the aluminium foil to go on the rear fenders. This isn't die cut by Tamiya. It's just printed. The shape is printed on the outs on the back, so you just trim it out with a knife. I haven't quite finished the polishing on the rear fenders, so I haven't stuck those on just yet. But that's the Racco case, sealed, and hopefully nothing will be lost during the build. Thank you for watching the video. A few more bits and pieces to go on. I'll do that in the second part. Hope you like the video. It is my first video, but join me for the second part, won't you? And look forward to seeing you then. Thank you.